Hi there, students. This is Mr. Dunaway. Welcome to Chapter 7, Section 1. So we move into pre-algebra topics. This one that we begin with is called the distributive property. If you have not yet put your name on here, please do. Put your name and the date for today so you keep your notes organized in your binder, please. And what's really important to me is that we begin with learning this stuff visually. And so we're going to do a lot of just using shapes to represent expressions. And that's basically what today's lesson is I teach you this pretty basic property for algebra. And to begin with, it goes back to things that we did earlier this year. You notice I have a rectangle. Now these two rectangles are the same size, but this one that has an x in it, that's just going to represent x. Okay. Now remember that x is just an unknown value, and I will talk more about that in class. Okay, that's unknown value. Now, in class earlier this year, when we did positive and negative numbers, the color blue represented positive. So in class, I will use blue to represent positive values and red to represent negatives. You probably can't do that unless you have colored pencils with you, and you don't need to do that for your notes, but you do need to mark that it's positive x, where the second one here, where it's negative x, well, again, when we're working in class, we will use the color red to represent negatives, and that represents negative x. Okay, so it's the opposite of whatever the unknown value is there. Okay, so those shapes, those rectangles, just represent some unknown value. Okay, and then as we move down the page, this one, that would be colored blue in class. That just represents a value of 1. So if you had 3 of those pieces, that would represent 3. And then obviously you can probably figure out that this would be colored red, and that would represent a value of -1 for us. Okay, that's going to be the standard to have me, the standard pieces for me to introduce the topic of distributive property and how it works for you. Let's go to the down the page. I believe we're still on the front side for you. So I have the models here, and they're not colored in, but I will draw them in the colors where I use blue and red appropriately. Blue is the positives and red is the negatives. As I do that on each page, that's what I'm going to try to do, again, trying to create a visual picture so it sticks in your brain longer what we're doing here. Well, let's review. I may have shown you this earlier this year. I can't remember. If I'm going to represent this expression, x plus 4, well, using the pieces up here to represent, I have one positive x, because there's no number in front of that. That means I have one positive x. So for your notes, I'd like you to draw a picture of a blue rectangle. If you don't have colors, just write an x in the rectangle like that. And then 4 squares. Now, the square should actually be this length of the rectangle. So you should try to make those sides match. Okay? So you have x plus 1. But you have 4 ones, so you need to have 4 of those. So this is a visual model of x plus 4. Yes, you have to do this. You have to do the pictures for me, because I want to see that your brain is seeing the pictures and the visualization of this really abstract math that we're moving toward here. So that is a picture of x plus 4. 1 x rectangle and 4 ones. Now, if I asked you to show 3x, well, what that means is we have, well, that's 1x right there. So that would mean I would have to do 3 x's. Okay, now they're supposed to be the same length, so I would like you to draw your pictures. They don't have to be perfect, but they should be fairly neat. You don't need to use straight edges, but you should make them look fairly nice. That's a visual representation of 3x. Okay, so let's take a look at some other models that we could draw. So hit pause as you go through this, and if you're having trouble keeping up. Number 3, notice that it says -2x minus 1. So that means I have 2 negative x's here. Okay, so that, and again, if you're using the same colored pencil, you need to write -x in there. That picture represents -1x. So that picture represents -2x. Right there, that's -2x. And then it's -1, and you can think plus -1, which is how I taught you earlier in the year how you should look at it. So we need one of these pieces to go with that. That's a square. Remember, the length of that square is supposed to match the length of that variable right there. That's minus 1. So that gives us negative 2x right here minus this 1. Now don't try to put those together because they're different shapes. You can't add the different shapes. That's called combining like terms. You're not allowed to do that in math because you don't know how much that variable is, so you can't do that. And then if I were to do number 4, I need 4 positive x's, so I've got to change my colors back to blue because now I need 4 of these. I need 4 blues. It's not a very good rectangle right there, sorry about that. Hopefully yours is better than mine because I'm drawing on this electronic pad at home and it's sometimes hard to keep them straight. I need 4 blue x's. Okay, so here we have 4x. And then I need to switch to red as I have 3 negative 1s. And there is minus 3. So this whole thing represents 4x minus 3. And you need to have the pictures drawn, just like I do in here. In your notes, you need to have those drawn like that, ready for me to see when you come to class. Okay, so let's take this idea and now move to the distributive property, which I believe, I don't have the paper in front of me, I believe that's on the back side for you if you're not already there. It says, use the models to show the distributive property. Okay, so notice what I have here. I have this number 2 outside the parentheses, and then I have this x plus 1. All right, well, what this number out here means that you have 2 groups, write this down, 2 groups of x plus 1. All right, you have x plus 1 2 times. Okay, x plus 1 2 times. 2 times x plus 1. The parentheses in there is telling you everything in there you have twice. So here's x plus 1. Right, that's x plus 1. But this says you have 2 of those groups. So you need to do that twice. Okay, so this is what this picture should look like. 2 groups, here's 2, one group, circle, there's 1 group, there's 2 groups of x plus 1. 1 group, 2 groups, x plus 1. So if I asked you to simplify this, you would tell me what does the whole picture represent? And the whole picture, consider how many x's do you have? You have 2 x's plus, how many 1's? 2. Okay, so this expression, and write this down as well, 2 times parenthesis x plus 1 is equal to 2x plus 2. And that would be the answer simplified. All right, for now, I just want you to do this in algebra tiles and pictures. Okay, draw the pictures. Yes, draw the picture. Even if you already see a shortcut, some of you might recognize something. I don't care at this point. Draw the picture. If I were to do number 6, okay, this 3 right here tells me I have 3 groups of 2x minus 3. All right, so this one's going to take me a little longer. So I need to draw 2x minus 3 3 times. So here's, oops, I meant to grab my eraser here. 2x would be like this. There's 1x, draw the x in there, 2x. And now I need minus 3. I got to switch to red. Again, you can change that to addition, which you should. I have 3 minus 1's. All right, now that's one group. That's only one of them, right? Now you need to do that 2 more times. So go ahead and do that 2 more times. I think what I'll do, since I have to switch colors, I'll just draw all my x's. Leave some space. Just fit it on your paper. I know I have a little more room than you do. Just squeeze it on there as best you can. All right, now I need a -3 here. And one more. Okay, so let's look at what we have. We have one group there. Here's group number 2. And here's the third group. Okay, so that's 3 groups of 2x minus 3. So if I ask you now, what is the whole picture? What's the whole thing? How many x's do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6x minus 3. Oh, that's not right. That's not right. Don't write -3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 9 negatives. Okay, so we have 3 times 2x minus 3 equals 6x minus 9. And the answer there is 6x minus 9. Okay, I'm going to stop this video. I'm a little over my normal time, but I do have one more video for you. If you think you understand it, try the rest of your page and we'll come back and we'll talk about them together.